today here for Auctria's webinar. We're going to talk about Auctria's virtual live auction features, and then we're going to let the bidding begin, or you'll let the bidding begin. I am joined here by our founder, Rob Walker, today. Rob, did you want to do a sound check and say hello?
Hi, yeah. Thank you everyone for joining us. Appreciate your time this morning or this afternoon, depending where you are.
For sure. In the bottom right-hand corner, there is a little box. I want to, you guys can hear us also. Can you just drop a note in there? Tell me geographically where you're coming from and what kind of charity or group that you're supporting with your auction fundraiser. That way we can get an idea where everybody is. And then you can also join us on our Facebook group. We have a Facebook group called Auction Team Chat. If you guys want to hang out afterwards and connect with each other, that's a great place to do so. Oh, great. Okay, I'm guessing you can hear because I see lots of notes coming in, all sorts of charities, foster youth, San Francisco, a tornado watch. Okay, be careful, Keelan, please. Washington State Preschool, Seattle Preschool, New Hampshire. It looks like we're spanning all of North America here. California financial support for those affected by COVID, PK for 12. Oh my gosh. Okay, keep dropping them in there because I will read through everything afterwards. I promise. That's one of my favorite parts after the webinars to go through. So I know COVID-19 has brought you many new challenges to your spring fundraising season, but we are here to help you get through the quarantine hurdles as unscathed as possible. So in terms of using Auctria platform, this means you can convert your silent auction to online. You can run the live gala as a virtual gala, complete with live and real-time bidding, followed by a live and real-time paddle raise. These online auction features were already part of the Auctria platform and well used. Our development team supercharged these and made some modifications to serve the live auction within your dedicated auction website, instead of a ballroom, of course. So the live auction and paddle raise can be conducted with a focused purpose. And when pairing with your favorite live stream function, the fundraiser will go on and your mission will continue. So if any of you are new, let me just give you a quick overview of Auctria, or if you don't know our history, Auctria was founded in 2011 as charity auction organizer. We updated our name and logo to Auctria in 2016. And like many awesome tools, this was designed out of need. We too were tired of paper bid sheets, unorganized tracking, long cumbersome checkouts. There had to be a better way. So almost 28,000 auctions later, 3.3 million bidders, over $170 million have been raised. So here's the agenda of what we're going to accomplish today. We want to talk about how to keep the live auction intact during this unprecedented time. We know there's challenges of fundraising during the coronavirus environment. We're suggesting that you convert your silent auction to an online auction, shift the live auction to a virtual auction, and I'll go over some live streaming options. And of course, I know why you're here, or I hope you know why you're here, is for the Auctria features and how you're going to do a live auction bidding activity and paddle raise. And then I'll show you how to set all that up within the Auctria platform. So just to summarize, here's some recent quotes that a lot of fundraisers or some fundraisers have talked about, and I've cherry picked a couple of them to share with you. You know, your bigger donors and sponsors may not necessarily be as impacted by the COVID rush right now, and they may have some cushion and long-term stability, and they want to help. The Giving Tuesday folks have redeployed for a Giving Now, which is scheduled for May 5th. I'm not suggesting that you do this. I'm just telling you that this is a global initiative. You don't have to participate. I'm just bringing it to your attention that this is a very large kind of head nod. It's okay to continue your mission. Pamela Grow, she's always listed in one of those top 25 fundraising consultants to follow. She's got 20-some thousand Twitter followers, and she recently tweeted that the worst kind of fundraising to do now is to stop. Mark Phillips from Blue Frog Fundraising, he tweeted an observation about current giving and saying people are great. And you can see the full quote there. And Jeff Brooks from Fundraising Now then subtweeted under there and chimed in and said to confirm he too is seeing the same. And from personal experience here at Auctria, we have found that groups have pivoted and also continued to raise needed funds. There was a group that got canceled literally the week they got sheltered in place out in the Pacific Northwest. And they transitioned and pivoted their auction to an online auction. There's a spotlight article posted. And they did an amazing job. They were able to raise the same amount of funds as they did the prior year with their online auction. And like I said, these conversations are taking place on our Facebook group, Auction Team Talk. So join us there and join your peers. We may be physically distanced, but we can still be socially connected. So we know that you might feel some extraordinary challenges fundraising during the coronavirus, but I know you've got the right team in place, because if you were able to pull off a full live auction, gala, party event, you can easily pull this off. Fundraising can still be conducted. Just do so with some sensitivity and focus on what the needs are to continue to your mission. Be forthright about immediate funds usage and continuation of supporting your beloved cause. Have lots of compassion. You don't want to offend, but I'm giving you permission here to put on your business hat, because if not now, then when? Ask yourself, ask your board, ask your team, are you fully funded? What do you need to continue to be committed to the cause? If you're not fully funded, how will this hurt long-term and compound the end result of not feeding, not sheltering, not researching, not providing medical or social services and continuing the education? You know what, I have to tell you a personal story. Last night we found out a friend of ours has cancer. Things don't stop because of COVID-19. Your charges and your missions are needed more than ever to continue, because you don't want to lose out on your monies raised. You want to make sure that you continue to service the areas that you cover, whether it's education, whether it's feeding people, whether it's the social services in your area. You've made that commitment, follow through on it. Fundraising is okay. So the cost of postponement is in terms of dollars and the commitment to the cause. And if you're going to move to the summer, when are you going to move to summer? Nobody has a crystal ball. They don't know when this will clear. And if you're going to move to the fall, there's some potential conflict with some other longstanding events. So be careful of that too. So my suggestion is don't cancel, don't postpone, run the fundraiser now, because you can spend the dollars in the bank. You can't spend the dollars that may come in the future. So we're going to do a little twist today, and we're going to do an acronym as we go along. We're talking about live fundraising, of course, but we're also using it as an acronym. We're going to lead with the mission and purpose. You're going to invite everybody to help or share in any possible way to either publicize or contribute to the event and the cause. This will be a virtual event. It is possible, and it's a great way to show impact to an even broader audience. And together we will embark on a new chapter. So let's write this book. So let's talk a little more about leading with the mission. If you lead with the mission, then you can never go wrong when you talk about your cause, because I know when you talk about the things you love, it's from the heart, and it's from experience, and it's for the good of the community. By leading with that in an upbeat and meaningful gathering, you do so in your active voice. Promote it ahead of time using video on your dedicated website. Tell your story. And you can also use this by enhancing the recognition for your donors and your sponsors catalog. You want to use speakers that are influential. Maybe you even want to dangle a little token of appreciation for after this shelter in place goes away, for an activity or party that you guys will be having. Encourage people to come to the event and then come to that future activity. You can include a paddle raise, maybe some micro donations or something that you will want to do now instead. And even if somebody can't give, just ask them to share and join along. So creating an event fundraiser gives you the opportunity to invite people, and not just people. I'm talking sponsors, bidders, donors. Give them all a reason to gather, to join in virtual company, come together to do some good. I think I saw about 50% of you are planning your event in the next 30 days. That means you've already contacted all these sponsors, all these donors. Go ahead and continue with your event. Right now, people are looking to find the helpers and give where they can. I was in a fundraising consultant's webinar recently, and she was describing the fundraising activity of a local food bank. They brought in 3 times the amount of money in the last 3 weeks that they bring in the entire year. So it's totally doable to fundraise in this environment. And look, if people cannot give, they won't. However, people can only give if you ask. So of course, like I said, sensitive messaging is more important now than ever. So you want to start off with a very friendly, thank you for joining our online event. The event is vital in helping us fulfill the mission, and then you fill in the blank. And state, while we wish we could gather with all of you in person, we know the best way is to safely raise money so that we can continue to, and then you fill in the blank. And then tell them, did you know that the money raised during this auction makes up X% of our funds for the year? For a lot of groups, a very significant amount. So be clear and tell them that that's why you're continuing with your mission, so that you can continue to support any services. So V is for virtual, and virtual events are real events. Virtual events are also versatile. Remember to stay on message. You're going to want to choose your stage. You may or may not want to do a chat box. Think about single camera versus single presenter versus multiple presenters. We're going to get into all this and talk about some invitations and RSVPs. And then you can embark on your new chapter. Post-event wrap-up is still imperative. You're going to continue to thank your donors, your bidders, your volunteers. And the one good thing about online activity, it's really easy to track internally, and it's really, really easy to send online bidder statements. So report and stay engaged post-event with the status of activities on how the funds were used. And then if you want, you can continue to do your donations ongoing, either through something like YouTube Giving on your own website or on your Auctria dedicated website. You can leave up a donation button. So let's talk about Auctria's role in the virtual event. Power of the paddle is still real, and it can still be tangible even in this new virtual phenomenon. Running a virtual live auction will be a dual screen activity for viewers and bidders. So during the live event, they'll use a larger screen where they'll be tuned in to see the live stream event activity. And they'll use a secondary device for the actual bidding and donations. And that's the part where Auctria comes in. And you may or may not include a chat stream for live streaming. Remember, creating an event fundraiser gives you the opportunity to invite everybody to participate. And I'm being very sincere that if people cannot give, they will share in any way that they can. So just ask them. So on the big screen, like I was talking about, you're probably going to want to choose one of your favorite live stream styles. So in doing research, even for my webinars that I've done for a long time, I see where this falls into 3 buckets that would be relevant to you guys. There would be an online meeting, like a Zoom or a Google Meet. You can set it up as a webinar, where just like here, there was a lobby, there was a buffer, you open the door, there was full registration. Or you can just, go live on social media, live alerts pop up. It's less private, but it might be something that would match your audience. So what are your needs? You want to figure out how many seats you need for an admin and MC. How public do you want the broadcast to be? And then for live stream considerations, I just want to make you aware of a couple pitfalls or some things to consider. The live stream can really range from a basement production, sitting at your desktop, or a full-blown beautiful production. Most streaming technologies introduce latency between the recording and the viewer, and optimistically, it may be 10 to 20 seconds. So you want to be really careful when you're doing your live stream and giving out exact dollar figures on that, on the actual audio part. Now, the Auctria part will stay updated immediately. The auctioneers will need to fill more space verbally. There will have to be more selling and describing of the items and painting the pictures and winning the item versus kind of scanning the room and reading the audience, because obviously they won't be right there. So pre-plan and practice with your auctioneer. You may be running something informal, and that's okay. However, it's still important to plan and be prepared. I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the latency considerations. And we did a lot of homework for you. I'll link the information, but some of the streaming services we reviewed are listed here, and it talks about the latency that we've experienced. And then if you want something a little more comprehensive, you can do a screen compositing program, and we reviewed those. Oh, give me a second here. So here is an example from our friend Stephen Kilbreath. He is a professional benefit auctioneer with full service planning consulting, addition to day of event MC and auctioneer. And he was kind enough to share with us a sample of how he's conducting live auction galas. I'm just going to pull this up real quick and let you see what one option could be for a full-blown professional event.
Hey there, it's Stephen Kilbreath, and I'm so excited to be right here. This is the home of our virtual live galas. PNTA and Canvas Event Space have teamed with Kilbreath Auctions to bring your virtual live gala into a reality. That's right. There's no need to stop raising money during this time because your organization, your school, needs it now more than ever. And we partnered with Seattle Lives and Kilbreath Auctions, PNTA, and Canvas Event Space to hold these events right here. These virtual live galas where you will still be able to have interaction with your guests. We have the interaction capability. We have the ability to stream your event. We have the ability to do everything that you normally would do at your event, but we're going to do it right here from this stage to everybody, your guests, in the comfort of their own home.
So you get the idea of what you can do with a professional auctioneer, but you don't have to use a professional auctioneer also. It's totally up to you on how big and wide and comprehensive you want to make it. It's your choice, because Auctria is going to help you with the virtual bidding for this. So use the platform that was built for bidding and streamline your virtual auction from registration through checkout and all the bidding and paddle raise in between. Does that sound familiar? It should, because it's what we've been doing since 2011. This is what your bidders will see as you take your live auction virtual on the Auctria platform. Your bidders will be viewing this from a page on your dedicated website. And you as the admin are controlling exactly what the bidder will see. They never need to navigate away to make a bid. It's all one quick tap, which means quick tap fundraising for you guys. Okay, let's dig into this a little further. V is for virtual today, and the Auctria features now include a live auction controller. The live auction controller is the tool that you're going to use to direct the live auction bidding activity. So while the bidders are on that page that you just saw, you, the auction admin, are the director, and you're controlling exactly what is being shown on their device and seeing the bidding activity live for those items. Let's go into this control in a little more detail, and I'll show you how it helps you as the organizer to run the bidding, the paddle raise, and what the bidders will see. So when you set up your live controller page, on the left is what you will see as the auctioneer view. And then actually as the auctioneer, if you scroll down, you'll see what the bidders are seeing. But if you're a bidder, you'll only see what's on the right side. That's the little Ferrari there. So on the left is the auctioneer, and that's used to interact with the live auction. On the right is a standard bidder view. Like I said, the bidder never needs to navigate around the site. They stay on one page for the duration of the live auction, and they only need to click to bid or donate. All bidding is in sync, and the notifications are real time, and the pop-up for the final bid winners or notifications do as well. So on the live auction controller, you can put up either one auction item, like I had there for the Ferrari, or multiple items at once. So this is a single item, and the auction is focused on the Ferrari Fantasy. You can see that Title 1 Ferrari Fantasy. So the administrator controls and shows the views. They do the open and close. You can view active bid history, active bids, as well as the bid history. It's showing the currently focused item at the top, and you can quickly see the winning bid amount, shows the open close status. And there's two modes for closing, and I'll get into this as we load the auction items, but I want you to have a reference here. There's two modes for closing. There's timed and manual. Manual, the bidder doesn't see a countdown clock. And that's what that orange and blue are across the top. That's how you would be able to manipulate the time if you needed to. Timed, the item follows the timer, and the orange buttons would extend to the giving amount, and the blue would set the time at that point in the future. And then the time modes would be set when you're loading the item. I will show you that. So this one is multiple items. I'm going to go back. See this one, it says one Ferrari and that's it. There's only one auction item that's being viewed by the bidder at the time. This one, there's two. See, it says Sip and Soar through Napa Valley and then America's Cup Yacht Sailing. So if the auctioneer wants to flip back and forth and auction off both of those kind of simultaneously at the same time, you can put a couple auction items into a group. So this is multiple items. You are the controller, simply adding multiple items. And in doing so, you can continue to do the open close, view the active bids and the bid history. It's you and the auctioneer's choice to do multiples or singles. So practice, find your comfort zone and timing. So here's how the multiples look like to the bidder. So the other one was the Ferrari, and it was just the single image. This is what multiple items would look like on the bidder page that you've controlled on their device. So that little red arrow is mine. It's just for the slides here. But the bidders stay on the page, and they can just toggle back and forth. They can click the button that says Sip and Soar, or they can click the little button that says America's Cup, and that becomes the focused item right below. Click the bid button, and everything comes in. All your bids come in. So the live auction controller tab has three tabs across the top. I've circled bidding in pink because that's the first one we're going to go over. But there's bidding, next up, and active group history. Let's start with the bidding tab. On the bidding tab, you see the full bid history for all the focused items in the order that they were placed. And what's really cool is the winning bids are highlighted in green, so it's easy to spot and use in talking to the audience. You can quickly call out the names of the current high bidders as well as the bidder amounts. So the next tab over is next up. This easily selects the items that you want to switch to next. So this is kind of like your next activity. It's kind of behind the stage. You can either single click to choose the next item, and that's that red button. It says red quick select. Click on that and it selects it. Or you can choose to group the items together, and that's when you would use that blue add to group, and that's when you would have multiple items being presented at the same time. So you can preview the current bid, the open close status with the little padlock there. If it's green, then the bidding is open, red if it's closed. And then going across the top there, active group history, you can see the history of items that you had previously focused on. And just in case you need to jump back to something, we've got the orange button that says make active again. Okay, let's talk paddle raise, because I know paddle raise is a vital part of your fundraising activity. And if you've been hanging around Auctria for any amount of time, you know that there's always multiple ways to do this. And we're giving you multiple ways here for a virtual paddle raise. That way you can simulate some in-person event activities. So there's two ways to present a paddle raise, with the donation amounts all listed on one page, like his example here, or with a series of items that you go through for a specific donation amount. And typically the auctioneer would start with the highest amount and then go down from that. That would simulate more of an in-person paddle raise activity in a gala or a ballroom or a party. So this too is a matter of personal preference between you, the auctioneer. Again, practice, find your comfort zone. So here's just another view of the paddle raise with multiple denominations at once, as they would be displayed on a tablet or a mobile device. Okay, let's look at how this happens on the live controller. Same thing. The paddle raise is an auction item. You're going to pull it up. You're going to make it your current active group, and then it'll show up on the bidder's screen. So the bidding tab during the paddle raise, the admin controller view shows all the bids coming in. That's why they're all green. They're all coming in. See real-time donations as they come into the paddle raise, and you can acknowledge the bidders who are donating and the amounts should you want. The total raised will be shown on the top part of the live auction controller. So in this example, you can see there's 12 bids for $16,005. That running total will always be there. It's a running total for A, the number of bids, and B, the total dollars raised. Okay, now how do we get this up and running in the Auctria system? Here's the flyover. You got your auction items that you load in. You put in your paddle raise items. You set up the website and where you're going to direct the bidders to for the live auction page. And then the bidders arrive and register. Now let's look at this a little closer. You load the auction items just like you would ordinarily do, with nice images and a description. You select item type live. Fill in the description, the donors, and any relevant normal values as you would normally. I do suggest when you're numbering these is that you do so in the order that you want to present, because that'll make everything easier when you're actually at the live auction. Like I said, you can hit that red quick select button or add to group. You're going to be able to see them lined up in a nice orderly fashion. So scrolling down a little further on your add items page, you will want to make sure that little green button is checked. The one that says ensure participation in online bidding is checked. And then you want to choose the closing mode. Remember how I showed you there was a little clock there? If you have a timed closing, that clock will appear. If you want to do it like you would in a staged event, you don't have a clock running. It's just the auctioneer looking at the audience, asking for bids, calling out paddle numbers. And then you would, if you want to simulate something close to that, you can just set it up as manual, and then you can actually physically close the auction item on the system. So for the Auctria usage for the paddle raise options, we talked about there being two, right? And the question is, what do you want audiences to see? And how do you want the auctioneer or MC to present and interact for the paddle raise? Do you want to show multiple denominations and then somebody can quick tap to bid to donate? Or do you want to present each increments separately, simulating more of a gala experience. And there's lots of pros and cons to each. If you put them all up and somebody has a choice between $500 and $100, are they going to pick the higher one? Even though there's a lower one on there, I don't know, you know your audience, versus a single donation. It'll elongate the discussion, but you can bring attention to each level, or you can just go for it all at once. So same thing here. You're setting this up as an item. You load the auction item as you would ordinarily, put a nice little image on there, include a brief description of what you're going to fund, and then select item type donation. And then as shown earlier on the control paddle, the auction controller, the paddle raise is just an ordinary auction item. They pull it up and it's viewed on the mobile device. So if you want to do the paddle raise with multiple levels, it's one auction item with multiple donation levels. So you would enter the donation levels for, in this instance, I did 100, 250, 500, 1,000, and 2,500. And then I did a little asterisk there. That is for any amount. So that would have an open spot, and the person that's supporting your fundraising event could put any dollar amount. And then you can include a fundraising target. This is good when you have multiple levels up there with multiple denominations, because then the thermometer will tie into all donation levels and you can see it rise across the board. So it'll be a roll up for the totals for all donations, all increments. In comparison, you could do the paddle raise, like I said, for the single event where they usually start with the highest and then go down. I wouldn't suggest doing a fundraising target on this one. It doesn't necessarily make sense because it would just be for that donation level and it would reset each time. Although you may want to add a thermometer to show the entire fundraising status of your auction, and that can be added easily for the entire roll-up. So this is a paddle raise for single level items. So you would do one for 2,500, one for 2,000, etc., whatever your increments are. Okay, now let's take a look at how do we set this up on the website live auction. It's 3 steps. First, you want to go to your Manage Pages section. My website happened to have been purple. Yours might be a different color in case you changed it, but you would go step 1, click on Manage Pages. That's easy enough, right? And then 2 would be Add New Page and call it whatever you want. I would call it Live Auction. Then step 3 is you click Add Section. And then if you've been in our website editor, you'll know that there's 3 tabs across the top: basic sections, row elements, and then pre-built sections. So blue is highlighted because I clicked on pre-built sections. And then these are the pre-built sections that are already done. And you click on it, and then you drag and drop it onto the new page that you just created. And then you'll have your live auction bidding section, which for you as an admin will be the controller, as well as what the auction, what the bidder will see. And if you are a bidder, you'll see just the focused element. So now you want to invite your bidders, right? I would do so through your ordinary channels. Where do you talk to them on a regular basis? Is it through social media? Is it through emails? Flyers are a little difficult right now. So wherever you talk to them, wherever's the best way to connect, invite your bidders. You can include a QR code in your emails. I like to use QR codes. It's really easy for people to scan, even if you're working on your live auction and you put your QR code on the screen beforehand. People can click on that. This QR code here in particular, I made green. I put the Auctria logo on it. There's a lot of really cool programs out there. Actually, they're just little websites. A quick Google search, and you can make something that matches really pretty, that matches your activity. This one in particular, I used QR Monkey, and I'll send you a link for that if you want it. So now all you have to do is let the bid soar and do all the good work that's in your heart, that you've worked so hard on your mission for. And as an add-on, I don't know if you've realized we have a concierge program that we had set up quite some time ago, and we have enhanced it to include a virtual live gala concierge. So if you're like, tap me out, I can't do this, I need help, you can use the concierge program. And we're launching this in conjunction with the virtual live gala if you want to use it. So it will help you set up your event correctly. It will build a more hands-on approach for organizations and auctioneers to ensure you maximize the success of your event. And the best email for us always is the very friendly hello@auctria.com. I know I ran through a ton of stuff, and I'm going to open it up to questions and answers. These are the resources that I'll have available after I download the playback and send you an email with all the details. And stay connected with us. We are active on Facebook and Twitter. We do have a Facebook group, Auction Team Talk, where all you guys can hang out and chat with each other, as well as, the Auctria people do chime in. On Pinterest, we have a lot of online donation request pages. And I know it's hard to ask for donations right now, but some people are giving. We have partnered, one of our partners is Donation Match, and they're still getting activity. And people are asking for donations, and they have donors that still have requests up that they are fulfilling. You can always email us hello@auctria.com, and you can always demo Auctria for as long as your heart's content on our website. So did I miss anything, Rob? And are there some questions that we can answer?
No, that all sounds great. Yeah, there's certainly been some questions in the chat. If anyone has any others they'd like to drop in, and if we've missed one, please feel free to repeat it too. Sometimes they can scroll past kind of quick. We're certainly happy to answer any questions about how to set it up or how it would work, or even more generally about how to do some live streaming. That's not our focus per se, but we've certainly talked to a number of auctioneers over the last month or so, and happy to share that.
Thanks,
So
Rob.
to comment on, sorry, I missed Jay's comment about, do we stream the video through Auctria? No, so at the moment we would say you would stream through another service, whether that would be something like YouTube Live, even a webinar style video system like we're using Click Meeting here. And we do expect that bidders would basically be using two devices, one that they're watching the stream on, and one that they're then interacting with Auctria on, so probably their phone for the latter.
Right. Did you want me to read these out, or did you make some notes already?
I'm missing that would.
Hosting some buy now. It looks like there's some back and forth conversation using
For Judith's question, yes, they can all be on one website. You can have multiple pages set up, but typically we would expect just a single site that covers all of the aspects of the event.
Great. Question about the webinars and playbacks. Our webinars, I think Ed was kind enough to post that. And our Facebook and our Twitter, I always put them out multiple times. So connect with us. Can donors donate via Auctria in the days and weeks following when they are watching replays?
Absolutely, yes. You can set up the donation side of the event to be open for as long as you like, and you can use it just as a straight sort of fundraising website.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if you've recorded your playback, go ahead and post it on your dedicated website, put your donation buttons under it, and let it keep on giving for you. Will you be covering info for running a silent auction with no live streaming? So Renee, typically a silent auction would be at an event. So I'm guessing you're talking about an online auction.
There are a couple of other webinars, some recorded webinars, if you want more specific information just about an online event. Yeah, this obviously had a live focus.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a full 45 minutes on there.
Yeah, Judith had another question about proxy bidding. So there are two ways you can set this up. You can use live items, which would not support proxy bidding. You could also set it up using our online auction, our online item type, in which case the online features like proxy bidding and anti-sniping would be available. So it's really a choice as to how you want to focus the bidding. If you want it focused in very much a live auction style, you can basically turn off proxy bidding. If you want it to be more online style, then yes, you can support proxy bidding that way. And I guess I should actually, having given that answer, clarify that when I say proxy bidding, I'm using the feature we have, which would let the bidder place a higher bid, and then the system will manage the bid up to that value. So if the current bid was 1,000, the bidder may bid 2,000 and will only get bumped up as people bid against them.
Right. Bart asks a question. He's observed a number of virtual auction events. Can somebody answer why you might sell multiples versus singles? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of talking with auctioneers, I mean, this is obviously very new. There's a lot of, to some degree, unknowns around the latency involved with different technologies, how long you need to give bidders to bid. So some have expressed the desire to basically be able to have a group of 2 or 3 items, so that they can bid, they can enable and encourage bidding on all of them simultaneously. And that way they can keep the bidding open for longer than they would if they were going through them just one at a time, and still keep the total length of the live auction manageable. So it sort of depends how many items you've got, how long you want the whole live stream portion to last, and how long you want to give bidders to actually get their bids in. Hopefully, as this sort of develops, we'll sort of get more feedback on what works best. And I think in the meantime, there sort of needs to be a certain amount of experimentation to see what style of engagement will maximize the fundraising.
Right.
I noticed there were also a couple of questions there about pricing. So we are still sort of working through how best to price out the certainly the concierge parts of this. So please reach out to us through the support channels or through hello@auctria.com with some more details of the event, and we can sort of work out how that would work, and we can sort of explain some more about what we're offering through that service.
Right. Elizabeth asks, can you duplicate an item? If so, where there was one available for the live auction and the donor allowed it to be sold twice, can that be done on the same item, or does it need to be entered separately?
It could be done beforehand. So you could set an item up as a multiple winner item, in the same way we'd support bidding in an online auction for a multiple winner item. We don't have any way in this interface of like doing that on the fly. I know that happens sometimes in live auctions. They will sort of add one in. That is something you would sort of have to set up beforehand.
Right. And even at the live auction, we calculate it after and throw it into the system, and then
you could adjust it after as well. It just wouldn't be literally live to what the bidder's seeing.
Right. So is this the same as what is already, Christine asked, so is this the same that is already available to us under live auction controller?
Yeah, so that's this is a newer version. We pushed a newer release. I mean, this whole feature has obviously been new in the last couple of weeks. What was shown here today matches what was available, I think, as of about Monday on the website.
Right. Kelly asks, can we have an auction take place, say, over 24 hours with the first auction presentation by the auctioneer on a repeat for guests in the event you don't hit all the items it could stream to reach more?
I mean, we've not thought about the sort of the repeat option in terms of how that would work for a live auction, because presumably you would want to close the bidding in this model. You can embed a video. So if you had just a normal online style auction, you could certainly embed a video on the website that people would be able to see, but it wouldn't be synced with the live auction controller like we demoed today.
Right. I'm trying to see what we answered and what's still available.
There was a question about branding. So yeah, the Auctria logo on a site wouldn't be visible. It would be your logo, your graphics. Just one comment that is worth stressing is that this is intended for use on the event website. We do have a mobile bidding app that is used for online auctions. Currently, the mobile bidding app doesn't know about these features because the live auction features are new. We don't have support for showing the live auction in the bidding app. We would expect bidders to go onto the website. That's something we're working on, but we don't have a time frame yet for an update to that.
Right. There's a question about ticket for the virtual event as well as raffle tickets.
Yeah, so you would certainly be able to set up a page for selling tickets. For the virtual event, you could. Normally, we would allow registration, fairly open-ended registration for a virtual event. You could restrict that and only allow ticket sales, which would effectively make it a ticketed event if you wanted. I noticed there was also a question. So a couple of questions there. So about sponsors, yes, we have the ability to add a couple of elements on the website that would show sponsor logos, link to sponsor websites, and you can also add your own graphics and other content as well if you need to stylize that more. There is a section in the user guide that shows how to get those set up, and we can certainly help on the support channel as well.
The website editor webinar went into a whole lot of detail about sponsors and sponsor catalogs and whether you want to include them in the headers. And there's a bunch of examples on how to utilize those. If you want to take a scan through that, that might be helpful also. I love having the sponsors on the website. It just, you're giving back so quickly, and it's right there. And it's a great way for sponsors to stay in front of their audience as well through a charity event. Obviously, that's why they're supporting you guys.
There was a sorry, question. I'm getting them out of order here, but a question about text to give, and yes, that can certainly be used in conjunction with the paddle raise portion or even the bidding. You would be able to, with our texting features, which are an optional extra feature, but the texting feature would work alongside the bidding here, and we do recommend using texting, particularly for registration. We think that's the easiest way to get bidders online, is that they can just text in to register for the event. They will get back a link. They will click on their phone, and then they would be able to bid on their phone through the website without having to fill in forms and set up a password or anything like that.
Right. There is a question from Mary. If you switch from a sold-out gala to a virtual event, what are your thoughts on keeping the event to the original attendees? Our instinct is to open it to all supporters, but are there any downsides to those that were originally invited?
We've seen a number of different approaches. I think generally, we've seen people open up the event. I mean, it's hard to turn away people that want to participate. We have seen some events where they have turned any ticket purchase price into a credit in the online auction, rather than refunding tickets, for example. Or maybe asking even for maybe a smaller donation to participate purely in the online. I think a lot would probably depend on the nature of your audience and the community that you're reaching out to.
Right. Donna asks, is there a maximum number of attendees?
No, we don't have a limit on bidders like that. Normally, where you might run into that more with a virtual live event would be your streaming solution, or if you're using something like Zoom or a webinar style product, they tend to be more strictly limited for a given license level on the number of attendees they allow.
Right. I think you talked about proxy bidding already. Proxy bidding already. Pricing. I think proxy. I'm sorry, everything's flying in so quick and it's hard to.
Though I'm noticing that I'm at the bottom of the chat, so I'm probably getting them out of order.
You're faster than me.
There was a question about current events that are using Auctria. We don't actually have an active list of current events, partly because they tend to change fairly rapidly. Obviously, events come and go. There is an online demo that's available, so you can see what it would look like from a bidder perspective. If you go to charityauction.bid/online-demo, you can see that. What else? And there was also a question about pausing the online. We don't have an explicit feature for pausing the silent auction. You could maybe do it. I mean, my concern would be that doing it might confuse bidders. We don't have a way of showing, for example, that it's paused. So you could possibly do it by changing the start time, for example. If you change the bidding start time on those items to be half an hour in the future, that would effectively pause the bidding, but that might also confuse the bidders. So I would be cautious about that.
Right. In my experience in the past, the online auction leading up to a live event is kind of like the appetizer, gets people excited. And then if people didn't win the auction items that they wanted, then they can use those funds again that they've kind of, mentally allocated for the live auction also.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Mandy had a question about the sponsors. So there is a section in the user guide, and there is a webinar. If you can reach out to us at help.auctria.com, we can send you the links, which would probably be a better way of communicating that than trying to give them through the audio like this.
Yeah. Did we catch everything? I'll do one quick scan through here. If we missed something, go ahead and drop it in the bottom so that it's more apparent to us. And if there's no other questions, we'll close out. We will have the webinar available for playback. You can share it with your team. You can share it with your friends, and hopefully, continue your fundraising efforts. So yeah, there's one question that was there about placing a proxy bid as the admin.
You can do that from the dashboard side. So if you open the bidding sales page as a registered user, you can create a bid for a bidder, and there will be a button on an online item to place that bid as a proxy bid. And there was a question about sending out the chat transcript. That is a great question. I don't know if we've done that before, Laurie.
I can see it as an admin after in my statistics. I don't know if I can tease out just the transcript, but it's interesting. Tell me why you want that, because I have two choices when I record the webinar. I can record it with the chat flow along the side, or I can do it with just the presentation. And I've vacillated back and forth on both of those. So I'm just curious, because I want to give you guys the best experience for post-webinar also. So I'm just curious. Back and forth. Someone the chat presentation. Who was it? Donna? Donna, drop me an email after. Just reply to the invitation, and I'll see what I can provide you with.
Yeah, maybe we should try it with the chat flow for, I don't know if we had it set up for this one, but yeah, certainly, as Laurie said, if you'd like a copy of the transcript, let us know.
Yeah. So that I'm sure to have correct answers. Oh, Donna, I'm laughing at myself, not you, with me. And then we do have a couple articles actually posted and related to COVID and converting. So, reach out to either me or the help desk, and they'll send you those exact links so that you have the correct answers also on those. I'm glad to see that you guys are still moving forward and working on your activities. Okay. And it looks like a bunch of thank yous are coming in. So I am going to give you a last and final call. Any last questions? Going, gone. And I will see you on the other side. Stay in touch with us on social media so that you can see any sort of ongoing activities. Rob, did you want to give any final thoughts?
Just to say thank you for your time, and we really hope that your fundraising through this challenging period is able to come through as unscathed as possible. Just to support all of the work that you guys are all doing for great causes.
Awesome. Okay, and with that, I'm going to hit the end button. Thank you, everybody, so much for your time and for all the hard work that you do.